Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon for the people that are on the other side of the world. We're saying good morning because this is the third webinar session for Caribbean Food SMEs organized by International Trade Center. So I'm Christina, I'm part of the Alliances for Action team, which is a program of the International Trade Center. And we're doing this webinar series on digital marketing in partnership with Caribbean Export, a development agency. So we're very pleased to be here for this third session of a 9 series of webinars that are going to touch different points and that aim to give you all the resources and tools that you need to really boost your company. I wanted to remind that this initiative is funded by the European Union, the Organization of our African, Caribbean and Pacific States, the CARI Forum and the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Agency related with the UK Trade Partnership Program. So we're very pleased to be here and to see that many people are joining and commenting on the chat. We want this to be, as usual, a very interactive session and useful session for all of you. So I'm very pleased to welcome to this session that, as we said last week, it's on websites and how important is to have a website for your business. So in this case, I'm very pleased to introduce this marketing agency that will be leading the session today. Each Thursday, we have experts of the markets explaining a bit more on these topics. So this time it's Digital Works that are based in the UK. And we have here Eimer and Emily today with us. We also have someone from the Caribbean, another expert that have his own food brand based in Jamaica, which is Nathan Patrick from Pepper Tree. So also Nathan will do a quite of an intervention to tell you a bit about how he has done it. That would be it for me. Please comment like a lot on the chat. We ask you to please have a lot of questions, but I leave it to Eimer and Emily. Over to you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Christina. And good morning, everyone. So pleased to be here and to introduce myself, as Christina said. So I'm the director of a marketing agency based in London, and I'm actually originally from Ireland, and I'm here at the moment. So I'm doing this webinar from Ireland. Christina is in Spain, Emily is in London, Nathan is in Jamaica, and you guys are all over the place. So thank you so much for joining us. And as Christina mentioned, any questions at all that you guys have, please pop them into the chat. And what we'll do is we'll answer them at the end of the session. And we're going to be doing 3 sessions. So anything that we missed today or anything that we leave off, you'll see us again. So don't hesitate to get in touch with us. So just to give a little bit of an overview before we dive into it, we work with local companies. So we work with companies across the UK, Ireland, America, Spain, and then we work with some larger international businesses. So some of our bigger clients might be, you might know them as Tom Ford, the beauty brand, Five Guys, the food company as well, Follow Your Heart, the food company. So yeah, a couple of cool brands on the books, and what it means is that, you know, what we learned from working with those companies, we're going to apply this knowledge to all of you and think of us as a resource for the next couple of weeks that you guys have and that you guys can turn to for any sort of website, social media marketing questions, all of that. And I have my amazing colleague Emily here too, and I will let Emily introduce herself.
Hi guys, welcome. I am Emily and I'm Strategy Marketing Manager at Digital Works. So I've worked with Eimer for about 2.5 years now, and we specialise in food and drink brands. And yeah, really looking forward to going through this. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box at any point.
For sure, thanks, and also, because of my Irish accent, I tend to speak fast. So if I'm talking too fast, I will not take offense to it. Pop it into the chat and tell me to slow down, please. So websites. we know that some of you guys have websites, and that's absolutely amazing. And part of this program is because we want your businesses to be now put on a global stage. Yes, it's absolutely great to be involved in the local market, and we know you're going to be supplying to businesses even across the islands. But what we want is to be able to put your business on the forefront on the international stage across the US, across the UK, because we know what the buyers want over there. And in the UK, what buyers want is to get as much information about a potential business before they even reach out to them. And where can they get that? They can get that on their website, and they can get that on their social media channels. So a phrase that we always say at DW when we're explaining to people like how important a website is for companies, no matter how big or small you are, is if you're not online, you don't exist. Local people might know you, they might hear you from word of mouth, but again, when it comes to a buyer or a customer a bit far away, if they don't find you online, you actually don't exist to them. Something as well about a lot of your brands. So I've gone through a couple of your sites and your businesses, and you have such a competitive advantage over so many producers around the world. And again, this is where you can show this on the website. You can give as much information as you want, and and you can make it as affordable and cost effective as you want, because all the content you're sharing on your social media channels, and most of you have them, just put that onto the website, and then it's you're hitting people on multiple touch points, we say. And a good website, it builds trust and credibility. So again, you could be producing the most amazing coconuts in the world. And if you don't have a website, to a potential buyer, they might be like, well, I've heard their coconuts are amazing, but they don't really have a website. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to buy into them, or I'm not sure if I'm going to check them out, because like that could all just be hearsay. So again, guys, just in terms of trust and credibility, like think about it for yourselves. If you're going, to a restaurant, or you want to buy a specific product, we all Google it. But if you're not found on Google, there might be a little bit of there's a little bit of a setback for your business there. So even if your social media is great, you do need a website, because the reach on social media, which we'll go through in another session, is totally declining. I'm just going to keep an eye on the chat as well, just in case anybody's asking questions. So this is a separate point, and we'll talk about this in another session, but because the organic reach of social media is declining, so we say without using any paid ads, your website is another touch point for the business, and you can put it on your business cards, you can put it on your flyers. If you meet someone, or if you have a friend meeting a potential buyer, give them your web address, and straight away they can go on and find out about your business. And the biggest benefit of a website is you can actually get found on Google by people searching for products like yours. So if they were looking for coconuts or a specific type of cacao powder, you can have all of these words placed in your website, which we'll show you as we go. And then the chances of you getting found by a person looking for a product that you sell is going to be far higher than you just hoping that they'll stumble across you. So yeah, and then we move on to Emily's going to go through the 7 qualities of a great website.
Yes, so the 7 qualities of a great website are, so the first one is it has to be well designed. So that's something that is kind of relevant to your branding, kind of consistent with your social media channels, and just really well designed and easy to navigate. So number 2, easy to use. So that is kind of the user journey on the website. Are your call to actions clear? Are your kind of are your sections of the website clear? So that's really, really important. Mm-hmm. The third point is optimize for mobile. So nowadays, so many people go on to the mobile phone to search a website rather than the computer nowadays. Yep. So it's so important to make sure that you can optimize everything for mobile. And that's just making sure that it's a little bit clearer. It might be kind of a tab down the side rather than a nav bar at the top. And that's something that we're going to talk about a bit later on. High res and quality content. So that's really, really important. There's nothing worse than going onto a website and it having kind of blurry images or content that just isn't high quality, because it automatically kind of makes you think that the products then won't be high quality.
Yeah.
Fifth point is contact points always visible. So just making everything super, super clear on the website, and like knowing exactly what kind of button or call to action will take you where. So that brings me on to clear call to actions. So these are kind of buttons on your website or links to, for example, a blog site, and just making sure that they're easy to navigate and not kind of hidden, as these are the kind of the pages you want people to be landing on. And then the last point is optimize for search. And that's something that Ema's kind of touched on in terms of making sure that all your keywords are within the website, so you are able to be found on Google easily when people are searching.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I've just seen someone, Jeanette, you mentioned you don't have a website at the moment. So what we'll actually do is we've a couple of website examples of places where you can actually get a really affordable website. And Nathan from Peppetree is actually going to share some information at the end of this session as well, because we picked out his website as being an awesome website and a great example. And we all know your website is your shop window now. It really, really is. It's going to open the door for your business. So even if you just had a very small website to start with, we'll talk through this. It's going to be super beneficial to you. And it's kind of when you have a website or when you're doing social media, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. When you know how to do it once, you will never be able to forget it and you'll never unlearn it. So it's just about taking that time at the start to invest the time into it and a bit of budget as well. And then that actually brings us on to a couple of great website examples that we would love for you guys to actually go on and check out yourselves. So this is actually a UK brand called Ollie's Olives. And this is what you see when you land on the website. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. And straight away, I can see if I want marinated olives or I want pretzel thins or I want seasoned nut mixes. It's super clear. It's not too busy. It's an amazing example. So if any of you guys have within your repertoire, or sorry, within in your business, if you have 3 flavors or 3 types of product, feel free to do take inspiration from this type of layout and have a look at their website because it's absolutely awesome. Solo Coquette is another one. And if you are here, we absolutely loved your website as well. I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately, so Christina was helping me with some translation. But guys, this is another example of a fantastic website. It has a gorgeous, gorgeous homepage. We call them a homepage banner. And it has a really super clear and simple nav bar. And we're going to talk about the importance of this as we go. But guys, your nav bar, these buttons here, these are going to be your calls to action, as Emily said. So here, these are the points that give people the information that they're looking for. And nowadays, we are all so lazy and we want everything at the click of a button. So we need to make things as easy as possible to access on our website for people. And you're going to get these slides after this. So please take inspiration from all of these amazing websites because they do such a good job of explaining, like going through the 7 qualities. And if you were to go back over Emily's list of the 7 qualities, you're going to see that all of these websites have those. So please use that as your checklist. Peppetree, Nathan, we're going to feature you because this website is so strong as well, an amazing Jamaican business. And you know, we went through a lot of websites, and this was even before we reached out to Nathan, and then Christina had the idea of actually bringing him on to, you know, explain his story. And again, look at the calls to action, guys. Den, Pride, Journey, Link Up. Straight away, whatever I want to get from this site, I'm going to get it. And we're actually going to show his site on mobile as well, because mobile is super, super important. And Nathan's site is amazing when you look at it on a mobile as well. And guys, the thing is, I know sometimes when we're so focused on our businesses, it's a bit scary almost thinking, okay, I need to build this website, but we're going to give you places where you can get templates, and all you need to do is change the colors on them, change the pictures, and add in your own copy. So it will all be very, very straightforward, and you'll be able to build an amazing site in a couple of days. Again, another super strong website is Pip and Nut. So they're a peanut butter company. They're global now. And again, super, super clear website, shop, about us, recipes, account. So, and a gorgeous, gorgeous gorgeous cover, homepage banner, sorry. And yeah, you guys will see this again, you know, like glass is here. So they have glass jars instead of plastic now. They don't use palm oil. So any sort of sustainability element as well in your business needs to be highlighted when people land on the website. These are mobile examples. Emma, I'll let you go into these because we just thought they were fantastic examples as well as of websites being viewed on mobile.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the ones that we have shown. So Ollie's is the first one. So this is obviously slightly different to the kind of computer version, and it's mobile optimized. You'll just see that it's a lot more simple. Straight away at the top left-hand corner, you'll know that if you want to buy or purchase, you just shop at the top. Obviously on the laptop, things like blogs and other elements of the website, maybe stuff about the team is a bit more obvious, but I think on mobile it's really, really important to just have the key things standing out, and all of these have really good examples of that. The popcorn one is really great as well. I think also the first two really show that kind of the free UK delivery on both of these ones, and that's straight away kind of like an offer. So that's something that is kind of popping out, which I think is really, really key to do when you're optimizing for mobile. But it's, again, I think the main thing is kind of making sure that user journey while someone's on their phone is really, really easy and clear. And again, Pepper Tree is a really great example. So it's just a kind of more simplified version of their kind of full website, and it looks really, really clean and great there.
Yeah, and like you guys, when you set up your websites, for those of you who don't have them, you're going to see that your traffic is going to come from mobile.
Yeah.
You'll be able to set up your analytics and see it in the back end, and 75-80% of people are going to be looking at your website on the mobile. So this is what we call mobile first. Start with the design on your mobile and then work your way back to the bigger desktop page version. We also wanted to highlight Belize Coconuts because they have fantastic videos on the website. And if you guys have any videos at all, just having a think about what you could add to your website. You can add information on your products, you can add the team, you can add a blog, which we'll go into later. You can add videos. So I love these How Fresh Are Your Coconut Products. That is awesome. And then there's a farm visit video as well. So check out Belize Coconuts and you'll see the great video content they have. And like, you guys live in some of the most beautiful parts of the world. So one thing that we're going to be doing as well is an iPhone and Android photography workshop, just to make sure that you guys are capturing the best content on your mobiles that can be shared on your website and on your social media. So we loved Belize's example as well. And then we have OS Foods as well, another piece of great content that you can put onto the website. No matter how big or how small that award was, you should be shouting about that. And a lot of you guys are going to be given, you know, particular type of stamps for sustainability, environmentally friendly. Have all of that on your website, because when it comes to deciding to have a website, I think sometimes, like even me, like when we were building our website, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to put on it. When actually you can put on all of recipes to do with your food. You can put on how your products are created. You can put on your team, as I said, awards, videos. So if you actually have a think about all of the things that you could put on a website, even before you start, you might even have too much. So there's so much to talk about, and just about categorizing it down and putting on the important bits to start. Now, we would love if you guys could maybe pop into the chat and explain to us why this website is very weak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've picked out a couple of kind of, we hope it's obvious, and like nothing's wrong, whatever you think is not great about this website, and then we can kind of go through what points could be improved on here.
Too busy, too much white space. Love it. Yeah, really hard to read. Yeah. Well done, guys. Yeah. Confusing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pictures are not clear. It's so true. So Suzanne Collins is a very famous author, like sold tens of millions of books, and this was her website. But it's quite funny because she actually got featured on a blog for like the world's worst websites, and since then updated it. So that's why we've used her. Bland, no structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Guys, no, I would have never known this was a book site. It's horrible. You're right, Wendy. Yeah.
I think another really obvious point that we've noticed is like we've been talking about the nav bar, that kind of bar at the top that would say kind of like home, blog, shop, for example. That's really squished kind of into the top right hand corner, and almost so you wouldn't even know that would be leading to another page. So I think that's something that's really obvious in this one that we wanted to highlight, because that's so important. And on the ones that are really good that we have shown, those examples, all of them have really clear nav bars at the top. So
true. Shadina said it doesn't look credible. You're right, Felicia. I'm a reader. I totally agree. This website would turn me off. Feel free. Oh, we will. Yeah, no problem, Jesus. Yeah, so guys, you get it. Straight away, we all now know what shouldn't be on a website. And this is another example. So if you wouldn't mind, we know we've kind of pushed the bar with these examples, but you guys will know, this is the total opposite of Suzanne Collins's one. Too busy. Yeah, Aquila. Yeah. OMG. So true. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
On this one, there's almost so many links that you wouldn't even know where to click.
Yeah, it's too stressful. We actually this is a really good point that you've just sort of touched on. This website is trying to give too many messages.
Yeah.
Way too many messages. So with our websites and with your websites, and guys, get in touch with us, ask us anything you want about these. Try get across one, maybe two messages max. Like one message: we have the best coconuts, we have the best cacao powder, or our formula is so super unique. And imagine if I was sitting, if you were all sitting in front of me and I picked one of you, Sandra, if I picked you from the audience and I threw 10 tennis balls at you, like, would you catch any of them? You might do well to catch one. And what does that mean? It means if there's too many messages being thrown at people from a website, you duck. If there's too many messages being thrown at people from a website, they're not going to catch any of them. And what they're going to do is they're going to duck like Sandra, or they're going to run away, or they're going to do, they're not going to get it. So guys, just think about like the one message: we are the best at X, or we have the best X, we have the best Y, whatever it is. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes everything clear, guys. And we know that these examples are quite obvious, but what you'll find when you leave this session is we want you to look at other websites and actually think, I would have changed that on their side, or yeah, that is a bit too busy. What kind of message are they getting across? If I didn't know this business, would I actually understand what they're trying, what message they're trying to give me? So yeah, hope that helps. It's on to you, Em.
Yeah, so here is our kind of basic website checklist. So you can kind of go and do this to your own websites just to double check that everything is kind of working and in place. So the first point would be click all the buttons on the website. Do they all work correctly? This might seem so obvious, but we have had even clients of ours and websites that we visited which you wouldn't expect, but like buttons won't work or they won't lead anywhere, and it's really easy to kind of miss that if you're focusing on other things in your website. So just double checking kind of once in a while that all of those buttons are still kind of linking through to the correct pages. All the images bright and high resolution. We've touched on how important this is. Like even on the week example we just showed, straight away everyone was saying that the images weren't high resolution and they were unclear. So this is really, really important. Does the website work well on mobile? So we've touched on this. So going not only through kind of the user journey on your computers, but getting your website up on your mobile and clicking through the buttons that way as well. So does the contact or inquiry form work? Whether you've got like a shop straight on there, or a form, or any sort of like link that you might get people to sign up to an email newsletter or something like that. Just making sure that that kind of links through and all goes to the right place. And that's super, super important. Do people get a confirmation email after signing up to the newsletter? So some of you may be thinking about doing a newsletter, or have a newsletter, or in the future go on to do a newsletter. Just making sure that that link works is really, really important. And if it is something like shopping on a website, making sure that they get a confirmation email and all of those kind of like back end things are working as well. And finally, does the website contain enough information about the product? So you want to have enough information so people know exactly what kind of product, even things like whether nowadays people obviously really want to know whether things are vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, etc. So if it is a food product, making sure that you've got all the relevant info, and even kind of having the initial main points, and then you can click through to another page that might have more information about that. So that's super, super important. So yeah, it would be great if you guys could all go onto your own websites if you do have them, and go kind of through this checklist and just have a little look.
Yeah, for sure. Felicia, I see you're going to do your site. That's good. And you know what? Do these every couple of weeks, guys, because what like when we update our websites, sometimes we leave it for a year, we leave it for 2 years, and we just don't check. But every couple of weeks, just get into the habit of checking it, because you never know if you've missed an inquiry or not. And guys, especially in the UK and in the States, these buyers, we need to make it as easy as possible for them to reach us. So it's super important to make sure that all of that is working correctly. So again, just going on to the navigation bar, which we've mentioned, because if you think about like over in the UK in particular, we spend so much time on our phones because it rains a lot and we're inside, and you know, whereas you guys live in gorgeous sunny countries and you mightn't be on as much as we are. However, we suffer with so much information overload because there are so many ads and so many businesses and people trying to put their content in front of us. And going back to when we visit a website, we have to make it as easy as possible to access whatever we want. Otherwise, if I didn't like this, so this brand is a popcorn and snack chip brand. And if their website wasn't so easy to navigate and I was a potential buyer, I'd be like, oh, I know another brand, I'll just go straight onto their website. So guys, these are just some tips that you could have on your nav bar. You could have shop if you had a shop, find us, where to find us, about us. You know, you could talk about your team, about the awards like OS had. Recipes, again, recipes is amazing to show how you can use your product in multiple different ways. And you might have unique drinks. You might have a unique coffee blend that no one knows yet. So just popping the recipes on your website as well. Again, just more amazing navigation bars. So that was Pip and Nut, and this is another brand called the Coconut Collaborative, which has a huge amount of products. So whenever you guys, when your business makes its 100th type of product, go to the Coconut Collaborative's website and take inspiration from them, because they've done a great job of making the user experience very simplified, even though they have so many products. A question for you all again. What would you add to your navigation bar depending on your business? What would you have? What do you want people to see on that top bar when they land on your website? Please pop into the chat. Our team. Yeah.
One other point I had, Emma, as well, was just on the navigation bar. What I noticed on the slide before was that little arrow that both of those brands have just makes it so clear. It's something so small, but kind of draws the eye to that. For example, the shop has that little arrow down. So automatically, you know that, you know, there's more to that. There's going to be something that's built out. And for example, on both of these ones on the about, so that's something that you might not automatically kind of think of, but you'll start to see lots of brands do that. And it's just all about making the user journey really smooth.
Love it. So we have some really good answers here, guys. Shanita, local shops where the product is available, amazing. Sandra, female farmers, love that. Your products, Felicia, Deborah, my offerings. I hate when I go to a website. Yes, that's a really good point, Donna. The contact details, like I hate when I go to a website as well and can't find the number. How to buy, Eleanor, have an emergency and need to, oh, no problem at all. You'll get these slides. Absolutely. Natural ingredients used, that's a really good point as well, guys, because when it comes to exporting, like any big or small retailers here, they want uniqueness now, and your products are so unique. We've gone through them, so that's a really, really good one and really natural. Yeah. Core values, yeah, love that. So look, you know what, live chats, yeah, real people, I agree.
Yeah.
Strong points of certifications. Yeah, Shanita. Yeah. Products by categories. Love that. Yeah, a free quotation. That's good. Really good. Look, see, there's so much that you guys can add to it. And all you need to do is change one of the templates we'll show you and add your buttons. So SEO. This is testimonials is a great one as well. Now, SEO is more of a longer, bigger sort of project for your website, but I'm sure you will have heard of it over time. And we just wanted to actually explain to you what SEO is and why it's going to help you. So SEO is the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. So what that means is, if I'm Googling for something that I want, if I wanted a particular type of cacao powder or coffee bean or coconuts from a certain specific area, I would want to Google, say, coconuts, Dominican Republic, just for example. And what I want to make sure is that your website will pop up. So the only way to make sure your website pops up is if you're constantly mentioning on your website coconuts in Dominican Republic. That's the way to do it. So it increases your chance of getting found on Google. Like, how many times do you need a solution for something and you Google it? The reason those businesses come up, not the ones who pay for it right at the top, but the ones who come up, we say organically. Yeah, I will go back to that in 1 second, Jesus. That's a good point. The chances of you getting found organically, i.e. not having to pay for it, would be far greater if you're constantly mentioning your keywords. So your keywords could be anything relating to your brand. Jesus actually has made a good point here, and we don't cover it in this session, but we will go over it a bit in the social media one. So you've been advised not to put too much time into SEO, just the basic, and then pay Google. Yes, Nick, we do. That's coming up. Just the basic and then pay Google for proper position and search results. Do you guys agree? Do agree with it, but it can get very, very expensive, whereas SEO is more of a long game. And if you're appearing at the top, towards the top in Google, you'll always end up staying there if you're constantly updating the website. Whereas with Google, you could pay £1 or $1, $2 a click. And if you have 100 people going to the website off that and none of them convert, you could have spent $400 trying to get people to your website. So what I would say is, before you consider investing in the ads, make sure that your website is the best it can be, because naturally the word of mouth, even for your business, the organic search, yes, will really help. But I wouldn't invest in Google ads until you know your website is ready. If anybody has any other thoughts on that, please feel free to feedback, because this is an open discussion. SEO as well builds trust and credibility. So what that means is we could be sharing recipes that could be randomly found by someone. And just to give you an example, if anybody is unsure or just needs an example, I just wrote this out. So if you sell apples, You don't want people who are looking for Apple computers to land on your website. Therefore, you need to use keywords like organic apples and picked from our apple tree. Because if you just type in apples, Apple computers will probably come up, and that's what we don't want. So we have to make the keywords quite unique to the website. And guys, one of the best websites ever for SEO and the best bloggers, and if it's you doing the SEO or the website stuff, or want to learn about it, or it's a colleague of yours or a friend or a family member, Neil Patel. This website will have everything you need on great SEO. So if you have any questions after checking him out, please let us know. But we have learned, like, haven't we learned so much from him? Like,
so much, like even kind of following him on LinkedIn and things like that, his videos popping up every day. Yeah, all kind of SEO related, but general marketing as well. So helpful. Like even like when we're learning to do new things, like we'll automatically go to his website to see what he's doing and how he's doing it.
Totally agree. Importance of a blog.
So how can a website blog help your business? So sharing more information about your products. So there are so many different types of blogs that you can do, and these will improve your SEO if you are using those keywords. So sharing as much information about your products as you can in kind of like listicle blogs. So that would be, you know, top 5 recipes you can make with our product, etc. Anything that's kind of really quick, quick to write, but lots of information about your products, and really easy and quick to read. We've found that readers love those kind of listicle blogs, especially if you can kind of click through, share them on your social media as well. So sharing recipe ideas, this is always a really great one to do, especially for food businesses. I think giving, rather than just writing about your product, giving your customers ideas kind of shows that you're a lot more, rather than just giving the product, that you're teaching them what they could do with the product. And that's so much more interesting, and will definitely lead to people landing on your website and reading those blogs.
And just on that, sorry, on that, you're actually giving so much value as well. Yeah, so it really, like, it's value for money.
Yeah, totally. Interviewing your happy customers. So this could be a quick Q&A, a case study on, you know, one of your top customers. Let's say you had like a little VIP list of people who are constantly buying your products. Sharing a little interview on your social media or website is something that adds a lot more value as well to your website and social media channels. A blog can also be where you share your company news. So whether that's getting new team members, winning awards, going into new retailers, something like that. Updating that is going to help your SEO, but also keep everyone up to date with your kind of company journey and new products being released. And it will drive traffic to your website. So sharing, for example, a listicle blog that you might share on your social media channels will lead people and lead people directly to your website, which is really great. So listicle blogs is something that we've spoken about. Does anyone else have any ideas of what you could blog about, or different types of blogs that you have read or you've done or are thinking about doing? If you could put into the chat box, we'd love to have a little look at your ideas.
Well, people submit their ideas. I'm gonna jump in and tell, like, for example, one idea, it would be like also 5 benefits of using a specific project, because also, you know, that, for example, coconuts in terms of health benefits, it's great. And I know that some of the companies that are here are working on that. Or for example, I saw that Nick Davis was commenting, he's from Jamaica, a chocolate producer. So it would be more like 5 things, you know, that know about the origin of the cacao in Jamaica. So can also be more cultural or general information about the country and the origin.
Yeah, love it.
That's really cool.
Really cool. Yeah, corporate social responsibility, DIY blogs, love them. Pauline, you can achieve the same with the Facebook page, but you need the website, but we'll do that in a separate social media session. But that's a really good question. Blogs about your relationship with suppliers. See, I love that. That shows massive credibility there, like suppliers, because what that is, guys, that's third party endorsement. It's not you telling everyone how great your products are, it's someone else. And that's what you need. Farms buying the main ingredient. Yes, amazing. We will just move on because I'm conscious of time. So platforms that you guys can use, guys, the slides will be shared, and we're also available if you've any other questions for us as well. We're just really excited to hear from Nathan as well, so don't want to take too much of the time. So Wix, Squarespace and WordPress are great sites to actually build your websites on. Wix and Squarespace are the ones we'd recommend, and amazingly, Nathan built the Peppa Tree website from Squarespace. So guys, you know, really straightforward platform. Nathan will explain a bit more about it. But it just shows what you can do. When do you use Wix? Amazing. So guys, here's a link to actually the Wix site, which again, you'll receive. And these are just a couple of the website templates that you can actually use to build your own site, and you can change the images, change the text, and so on. So there's endless opportunities. And once you actually delve into it, or one of your colleagues delves into it, you'll find that it's actually very straightforward in terms of chopping and changing things. Then we have Squarespace. Again, it's just another option. A template could be $20, maybe $10. Some of them are going to be a bit more expensive, but you pay for it once and then that's it. And then you make it your own. So really, really worthwhile investment.
I wanted to add a question that we have here in the questions and answers.
Oh, yeah.
Does these templates also create mobile? Like, does they include also the mobile version?
Yes, that's a brilliant question. Some of them mightn't, but they would. Most of them would, yeah. I can't actually see the questions and answers box. So Christina, feel free.
Okay, yes, so that's Eleanor Thomas who asked us for that.
Amazing. Thanks, Eleanor. Yeah, that's an amazing point. Yes, it will be definitely for mobile. Google My Business. Who was it? Was it Nick that asked that?
Yes.
Google My Business. Nick, great question. I'm so happy you asked that. And we actually had a chat with Nathan about this as well. Guys, Google My Business is all it is setting up a profile for your company to get found, particularly in your local area. But it's really good because it means that if people search for you, this profile on the right-hand side will come up. So if you guys Google Proper Snacks, you're going to see reviews about them. You're going to see their address. You're going to see their opening hours without even having to click to their website. So what's so amazing about Google My Business is it allows you to display all of the important information, the hours, your address, the contact. You can share images, products, etc. And it's all free. This costs no money. All you need to do is go to googlemybusiness.com and set it up. And we've actually shared a link to a YouTube video, which gives amazing tips for Google My Business as well, guys. So have a watch of that and you're going to get so much value from that. So yeah, Wendy, great point. It's brilliant for accurate insights. Just very quickly, guys, for 1 minute, why are these such good examples? Maybe just one or two answers would be fab, please. Why are these such good Google My Business profiles? Like if I came across these as a buyer, I'd be like, yes. Any answers? Gives contact info. Amazing. Yeah, love it. Most of your info is there. Exactly. They don't even have to go to the website. Yeah. And the phone number as well is there, which is a good point. Yeah. So we'll just run through the takeaways, guys, and then we'll make sure we haven't missed any questions, and then we'll hear from Nathan.
Cool. So websites need to work well on mobile and desktop. So we've touched on that and gone through why this is so important. But just to reiterate, it's because I think it's 80% of people nowadays are going from their mobiles rather than the desktop. So that is so important. Websites shouldn't contain too much text. like some of the kind of weak examples that we showed you guys. It's just too much, it's too messy, you won't know where to click. So that's a key takeaway of ours. Websites need a simple navigation bar so people can find what they're looking for. So yeah, we've gone into that quite a lot in terms of just having exactly what you kind of need on the top bar. So home, blog, about, shop, and like keeping it so simple.
Yeah.
Google My Business is very important for a business to get found on Google. Like Ema said, it's free, so it kind of costs nothing to fill in, and it just gives so much more validity to your company when people are searching for you. Google My Business is also a place to show your business, products, hours, and team members. So filling out as much as possible, yeah, will just add to the validity of your company.
Yeah. There's a couple of links as well, guys, just that you have anything that we referred to. So check those out as well. You will receive these slides. And if you want to contact us, this is our website, or you can email us. Christina will give you our emails, which is no probs. So thank you. I'm so sorry now, I'm rushing this a bit, but thank you so much for your participation in this. And guys, we're doing other sessions, but if we left anything out or you feel like you want to get more, just contact us. But yeah, look, super excited to hear from Nathan now. And thanks a million to all of you guys. Yes, Gabrielle, of course. And thanks a million to all of you, and best of luck with the businesses, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
I'll
Thank
stop
you very
sharing
much,
now.
Emilia and Neymar. I have a make you co-organizer, so you can also check out the questions we had at the questions and answers part. While we have Nathan tell us more about his experience. As I mentioned at the beginning, Nathan has his own business based in Jamaica, with a lot of experience in branding, and now he's decided to invest all his knowledge into a food brand. So over to you, Nathan, to tell us about your process building a website and share your experience with the rest.
Sure. Okay. Everybody's hearing me all right? First and foremost?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And much appreciation for the compliments for the Pepper Tree website. It's much appreciated. I think before I jump in, I prepared a few little slides so that we can move along quite swiftly. But I have a couple notes here that I wrote down during the presentation. And I would just like to add to, I think much of what I've written will also reinforce, as it is repeating much of what has been presented here. As well, I may add into it a little bit, looking at how we actually begin, where we begin. I think a lot of the times, especially for SMEs, the question is, how much is this going to cost me? The examples coming forward of showing the Wix and WordPress, Squarespace, I think is great, because as mentioned, Pepper Tree is done on Squarespace. And Squarespace, I've been using Squarespace since its launch, which is, I don't even remember, it's many years now. And it's come such a long way. And it basically has made it where you no longer need a developer. Now, so I think what happens as well is that you can tailor it to the size and what your needs are. So as you grow, you can then add on the bits and make it justified. You make these spends as you move forward and as you grow, justify your spends. I think in the case, I wouldn't warn anybody against things like WordPress, etc., if that is the direction you like to go. But very often you will need then the resources of a developer to support. And so when going about desiring to make changes or modifications to your website, you might find yourself having to pay a lot more money, because then you have to return to the developer and go through the whole process again. So these templates have come out, as I said, a really, really long way. I think it's important to take a couple of the key important things to remember when using these templates or just websites in general. I will share my screen and we can jump through these slides here. Please bear with me a second.
We can see it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes. So Nathan, while you do that, I wanted to let you know that in the chat we have a lot of compliments for your website.
Oh, thank you very much,
I think
everybody.
people are checking it already, and I find it very inspiring.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of gray hairs. All right, so just jumping in here, quick introduction for those who may not know the brand Pepper Tree. We launched 4 years ago here in Jamaica, and we are hoping, I think as with most are probably present here, to help build brand Jamaica and really try to establish more of our presence in the world. And so great topic, and I was really happy to sign on to participate in this presentation, as I feel the footstep or the first impression that we make to the world is really important. And the advantages and the opportunities that can come from doing it well are very hard to measure, as it's an intangible, but are definitely unquestionable, cannot be argued. So jumping in here, there was 3 questions that were posed to me, and I thought the easiest way, sorry, something just happened, 2 seconds. My apologies, everybody.
No worries. Okay.
Okay, and I thought the easiest way is just to really share my thoughts regarding these questions that were posed. So why is creating a website so important, both locally and internationally? All very good questions, I have to say, that also have been posed. Number 1, which was touched on already, as it increases your company's credibility. And I think it's key to note here that this includes whether it's a product you're selling, or if a brand that you're building, or if it's services. You know, the credibility really in a well-presented site definitely is heightened, your credibility let me give you the note here that I have, sorry. One major way you can stand out is by having a website that looks good and clearly communicates quality information to your consumers. Second point here is really to tell your story and connect. So it's a great opportunity to tell your story. Very often in business, I think I like to think of it as, back in the day, we would have to send many salespeople out to knock on doors and introduce people to our brand, our products, our services, etc. I mean, great, amazing, powerful internet that allows us to really knock on many doors at one time. So knowing that, really, putting our best foot forward, and also knowing that we can tell the story well one time, that allows it to be repeated over and over and over, with really with the hands off the wheels, which is great, right? So as I'm saying here, a well-executed website allows others to connect to your story and finer aspects to your company, which they may not be able to discover elsewhere within the digital landscape. And this also, I believe, was touched on a bit in explaining that. I won't go too deeply into it, but a cross-channel, an omni-channel mix is really important. I won't get too deeply into that right now, but really the tentacles of which all tend to still lead back to your website, right? So this greatly also assists in generating leads, and it can save you a lot of time and money. An extra point I wanted to mention here is that by clearly establishing who you are, what you represent, and what you stand for, you increase the chances of your customers buying from you. This is an opportunity for people to know who you are and make a stellar first impression. And as we all know, first impressions count, and boy, what a way they can last, right? Showcasing your website can really showcase your originality, right? Websites can be used to assist interested parties to identify what sets you apart from other similar offerings available online. And this is really important. As discussed earlier, the users are really making very quick decisions. So we really want to pop and then capture the attention. So again, take the time to really make sure, I think, that that's happening with whatever designs it is that you're thinking to execute. We should think about what we're executing and why. Another added little point to that too that I wanted to mention is that it's important to consider who are your competitors. I suggest looking out across the global landscape to determine what is best practice and aim for achieving that. Also observe the local landscape to see what your competitors are or are not doing. A well-executed website can be a cost-effective way to garner yourself some competitive advantage within and across the digital landscape. I think this echoes very largely for anybody who is, like myself, an SME, trying to build and trying to garner support and obviously more business. So, you know, it is a very cost-effective way to do so. Moving on to the next question that I was asked, which is, when creating my site, how did I conduct my research? So I'm going to reveal here a process that I use, not just for websites, but for branding in general and virtually any execution that is a communication execution. So the first bit is to identify the target groups, the trends, behaviors, and their preferences. So before jumping into the point, I want to say, we have to remember, I do believe it's important to remember that what we create is very personal and emotional. We can have a lot of emotional connection to the things we create. But we have to remember, unfortunately, or fortunately, others don't share that same connection, right? So I think it's really important to remember who it is and what it is that they're looking for, right? And make sure that we are filling and ticking those boxes, okay? So just gonna read this here. First stage for me is to determine what I'm actually needing to research. Decisions surrounding design, graphical user interface, navigation, content. As you might notice, a couple of these things, GUI, nav, which are some of the acronyms used inside of the web world. Content, etc., are made through careful examination of the industry trends, behaviors, and preferences of my target audience. I call this stage the needs analysis. No official designing, copywriting, etc. takes place until I feel satisfactorily pleased with the completion of the research conducted in this phase. I cannot stress this enough. I feel many of the examples that I see out there have not seemed to be, try and put this correctly, there hasn't been much research, but instead reaction. And I think we need to be very proactive with what it is that we're bringing. And if we are that confident and invested in what we're doing, like, spend the time up front. It's really gonna pay off, right? So the next stage after that, I say, is to discover and collect. And Google is your friend in this case, right? Once you've thoroughly researched and completed the needs analysis, you spend a good amount of time finding examples of online websites that are either fully or partially executing best practice, which in some way align to your vision. So not all sites are going to have everything, have the best example of everything. Some may have great navigation, some may have average navigation, some may have really great communication in terms of delivering very quickly to the viewer and the visitor what it is that they're selling. In the case where maybe that's not what you want to be doing, it depends on really what it is you're trying to sell. Maybe you want to draw in a visitor to take them somewhere else into the site. It really depends. So taking that needs analysis and then placing that up against what is out there is really, really important. So call it almost like a scrapbook of sorts, right? So spend a good amount of time finding examples of online websites that either fully or partially executing best practice, which in some way align to your vision. So as I said already, sorry. Note, I think this is really important, which I've seen much of time and much dollars be lost unnecessarily by not paying attention to this part, which is to conduct this phase up to the point you can confidently recognize your direction. Once you have that, it's really time to start getting into things. Like, really try not to get caught in analysis paralysis. You know, websites and branding, I'll just touch on the branding a bit. Websites are a part of the overall matrix of your branding. And it's important to understand that brands are not something you set and forget. They're really something that we want to set a very solid foundation of. And then from there, we, as indicators of what we're doing or how the business is trending, how we're growing, should indicate for us, give us the indicators as to what it is we need to be doing next, right? So I think reserving oneself to recognizing that it's an ongoing thing. You know, you don't need to be doing it every day, but it needs to be something you need to be returning to often, right? So to really just simplify this, it's just to identify, discover, collect, and then and only then comes the fun part, the execution. So the last question I was asked was, what 3 tips can I give to anyone setting up their own website? Number 1, I would say do your research. Take your time to discover best practices and set them as your benchmarks. The ladies, I agree with Mr. Patel's. He's excellent for information. You know, take the time, take these things in. And if it's not you that's doing it and you're enlisting the services of somebody else, check that they're checking into the right resources. Make sure that you want to make sure that best practice is behind whatever it is either you are doing or your supplier that you're engaging is executing for you, okay? Or leaning into or leaning against to make their decisions as to why they do what they do. Okay, so the next I would say is to identify the areas where you need assistance. And this is really, really important. You know, a good website needs to be engaging. And to do that, I'm going to go off of this a little bit here and just speak to the templates that were brought up, the Wix and the Squarespace, for example. Really any sites, if you're also looking into WordPress, Joomla, all the various, what they call languages that are out there as well, platforms, sorry. And so what you'll see and you'll tend to see is that they're marketing as well, their own platforms. So they use the nicest of photography, the nicest of video, etc., to pull you in and capture your interest. So I think it's really important to remember that as great as these templates are and as great as developers may be, you know, there is much more things that you need to take into consideration. And you don't want to skimp on these things, right? So, but know what it is, again, I'll say where you are in the life cycle of your brand. And in that way, you can determine what it is you should be spending on at this point in time and what not. I'm not a supporter of doing absolutely everything out of the gates, because your business itself may not be ready to supply to the demand that you might create. So, you know, take your time, and I think work it in tandem with what is realistic and happening with your company. Let's say enlist professional designers. As I was mentioning, what makes those sites stand out is because they've used professional designers, writers, in the back end. When we look at the performance of these things, even like Squarespace, you know, why can you find Squarespace? Well, the SEO and the SEM, which is search engine marketing, and creatives as needed. Look at this as an investment. I can't stress that enough. I've had a career as a creative, and it really is something that when you have creatives that can understand the trends, etc., and interpret what it is you need, it will pay back tenfold, right? So do look at it as an investment. If done correctly, this will lead to great returns, as I said. So look for areas where you can cost save, but never cut corners. Third, I would say, is remember first impressions count. Think your website as a reflection of you. You know, would you head to a classy dinner party dressed in your pajamas and looking like you just rolled out of bed? Likely not. I know I wouldn't. Though who knows? Maybe it would be interesting, but probably would be quite memorable and not forgotten by many, and not in the way that I would like it either. So, you know, treat your website no differently. You know, make sure you dress for the occasion, right? So I just thought some couple final thoughts here outside of these questions I thought I would share is that digital is rapidly becoming the new gateway to the consumer. And as such, it's paramount to ensure you present your business by placing the best foot forward, which you can. And why not? It's likely to be one of the least cost-intensive exercises involved in building your brand or business that you will encounter along your business journey. For SMEs, especially as I mentioned earlier, having a great website and online presence is of utmost importance. Strategically, it can allow you to swing above your weight. And in building your business, making sure best use of what you can isn't an option, it's a necessity. So in short, I would say tell your story, connect, engage, follow through, and repeat, repeat, repeat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nathan. I think that was very inspiring. And also you did a great work of, like being very concrete on the points you have presented. I know that we're arriving to the end of our session today, so I will launch while we wrap it up a quick survey that we always do each week to get some feedback from our audience, and also, if you, as a participant of this series, you come out with a question or an advice or something you would like to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So I put on the chat my email address and also the Alliances for Action address, so you can reach out to us and tell us about your thoughts. Also, I wanted to remind everyone before it leaves that we will be having another session next Thursday with Eimer and Emily from Digital Works, and this one is going to be on photography, so iPhone and Android photography, which is one of the questions that we got today, like how do I do to have good resolution pictures and also bright pictures. So in that sense, this is something we're going to touch next week, also focusing in food products. So please join us next Thursday. I also want to check while I was doing this if we got any questions as well for Nathan. It says, I have attended, Age says, I have attended webinars where presenters have said to stay away from template-driven websites like Wix and Squarespace due to lack of e-commerce integration, payment gateways, etc. for the Caribbean. Do you agree or disagree? Maybe Nathan, you can tell us a bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is just making sure I'm on here. It's very true. There is a lot of work needed for us as a country. This is really about the financial system, etc., and banking, which poses sometimes issues. But I would say it's more, you can use APIs and also other payment gateways, say like WooCommerce, etc. Those can be added to your site. You know, a site doesn't necessarily, let's just say you use Squarespace or Wix. Your link might drive directly to another platform in which maybe it's a Shopify store, maybe you're using Shopify to drive the payments, etc. It could be WooCommerce, for example. So there are multiple options, but one of the things to really look out for is the ability to actually do the transactions, right? I am not an absolute expert on that side of things, so I'm not going to pretend to be. One thing I can mention is in the last 24 hours, a little birdie told me that Jamaica has just been accepted as a seller on Amazon, which is great. It's very, very monumental for Jamaica, which will make this particular topic in terms of payments, etc., should make it much, much more simple affair. But again, that's really just, hopefully Amazon will lead the way for showing us, for allowing payment portals and so on to more easily accept the between country transfers.
That's great news, and I see here that Janelle is also sharing that Trinidad as well. So I think that that's great news for the region, and that I just wanted to remind everyone that we're recording this session and we will be sharing the slides that we have shared today with you here. So we'll send in those, and you can go to Caribbean Expert YouTube channel to check and re-see all of these sessions, especially this one with a lot of information and links. So don't hesitate to do that, and also to stay connected with us. So thank you very much, Nathan, Eimer, and Emily. This has been an absolutely pleasure. Time has gone fast, so quickly, so fast. But I think that we have given a lot of inputs and really good tools for the audience. And Nathan, you were also very inspired, so thank you for that. We'll see everyone here next Thursday, always at the same time, so 10 a.m. Jamaica time. You have also the same registration link, so you will be receiving the right link to join the session next week. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks,
bye,
Everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.